Up to Siman Mem Ches, page 154. Siman Mem Ches. Omen Parshas HaTomid, Psuki Korban Shabbos, Omen Meitzel Parshas HaTomid. That's that. Hagor. This is interesting. This Siman starts with a Ramah. It happens occasionally that the Ramah decides to talk before the Mechada. So it says the Ramah. Hagor. Omen Parshas HaTomid. We say the parsha of the Tomid, the Korban Tomid, right? The Psukim of the Korban Tomid. V'yesh omim seder ha-ma'arocha. Some say the seder ha-ma'arocha. That's the Psukim of that's the Abai have a Masada. It says the order that they did the various different avodas in the Beis Hamikdash. The Neirus, the Ketorah, the Tomid, and all the correct order. If you can't say it with the tzibur, he can say it in his house. And then just to repeat Parshas HaTomid with the tzibur. We're not known nowadays to say the Parshas HaTomid with the tzibur. I'm sure there are places that do it, but definitely where we daven they don't. And when he reads it the second time, you should have in mind that he's reading from the Torah, not that he's bringing the Korban Tomid the second time. The medaktikim are accustomed to shake or shokel, and when they learn Torah, because the Torah was given with fear. They were in trepidation, and therefore they trembled, and therefore we shockle when we learn. Similarly, when we daven, also with the minhag it's a shockle. Al Shem kolatz moisai tomar Hashem mechumecha. It's a different reason, because it says in the passage that all our bones say that no one's like Hashem. With all our bones, we want to praise Hashem. So while we're davening and praising Hashem, we use our whole body by shockling. Put the whole body into the praise. Let's see the MISHNA Berura of Cotton Aleph. So first of all, he's going to talk about the Parshas HaTomid. We say the Parshas HaTomid is to replace the offering of the Korban Tomid. Shekain kiblu Chazal shebizman shei Beis Hamikdash kayim. Chazal will makabel that when the Beis Hamikdash is not around. We can't bring korbanos. And the pasuk looks, Hashem looks at it as if we've actually brought the korban. If we learn about the korbanos, as if we bring the korbanos. It's actually the Gemara says that Avraham Avinu asked Hashem that what happens when Bnei Yisrael do Averos. Hashem said that they can bring korbanos. So Avraham asked what happens when there's no Beis Hamikdash. Hashem said, then if you learn about the korbanos, then it's as if you've brought the korbanos. That's why some say the Seder HaMaroch to talk about all the various different avodas that happened in the Beis Hamikdash. V'nireli poshut, D'mishi yedei sefer, someone who knows how to learn. It's clear that it's a mitzvah lilmod b'gemara. He should learn the explanation of this memra. Also, what we read, the making of the Ketorah. If he knows how to, he should understand what he's saying. If he understands what he's saying, then when he says the psukim, then for him will be as a replacement. It will be in lieu of the Torah, the Korban itself.
But when we say it is as if, right? We're saying that it's our best alternative. It's not really the same.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Because if you have the Beis Hamikdash, that's better.
That's the idea.
Right.
At the end of the day.
It's
right.
the Chenkos Vasforim.
Plan B.
There's a joke about someone who went to Shamayim after Me'vesin at the end of his life, went up to heaven, and they said to him, you served Avodah Zarah. Well, what explanation do you have for it? So he said, what do you mean I didn't serve Avodah Zarah? It says kol hakoyes, ki'ilu avodah zarah. Anyone who gets angry is as if he serves avodah zarah. He served avodah zarah. So he thought for me, he said, well, I've already brought a korban to atone for it. So anyone who is the Parshas HaKorban, it says ki'ilu hikriv korban. So it says ki'ilu I've done avodah zarah and ki'ilu I've brought a korban.
Okay. Ki'ilu.
Yeah. Obviously, we're davening for the Beis HaMikdash to be rebuilt so we can actually bring the korbanos.
Exactly.
But in the situation we're in, that's the best we can do. But the MISHNA Berura says in order for it to have its effect, and it does have an effect, in order for it to have its effect, one has to understand what one's saying.
Right.
So one should preferably try and learn the meaning. It says anyone who knows Sefer, no one who knows how to learn. Nowadays, you don't need to know how to learn because we have enough English material available. So everyone can do this. Let's continue. As we said, the Gemara says that the Sfarim explain that when the Gemara says anyone who is involved with the Parshas of Olah, it's as if he worked. Korban Olah is only when he understands what he's saying, not just when he reads the words. The Magen Avraham says that one should stand up when saying the Parshas of the Korbanos, like the Korbanos themselves that were brought standing up. Like we saw yesterday, not to say the Parshas of Tomid before daybreak, because the Korban Tomid could not be brought at night. So Magen Avraham says also that one should stand. The Shari Tshuva brings Vachonim who are cholik on this. One of the points he mentions is the whole of Klal Yisrael didn't have to stand up during the Korban. It's only the Anshe Maimed, the people involved in it, but not the rest of Klal Yisrael. In a place where it's read, where the Tzibur reads it, B'kol Ram, the Parshas HaTomed, then it's correct to stand. So in a place where the Sheikh Tzibur says Parshas HaTomed, one shouldn't say it together with the Shatz. Because of Aprim Megodim, because of Sidurim Benusach HaYirotzen, Ke'ilu Hikravnu Korban Tomid, Yesh Gosem Hikravti, Einu Nochen. So in Sidurim, they have, after the Korbanos, they have a Hirotzen. We daven Hashem that the saying of the Psukim should count as if we've actually brought the Korban. So this Hirotzen is written in some Sidurim also with regard to the Korban Tomid. After the Korban Tomid, it's as if we, or as if I brought the Korban Tomid. Einu Nochen. So he's unhappy with this. When we read the Parshas Chatos, then we say it's as if I brought the Chatos, because the Chatos was brought by a particular person.
That's what I was waiting for.
Masha'ein came but Tomid. Ein Yochid Mikri Bailim, with the Korban Tomid, we're not the people bringing the Korban Tomid. So, a better wording is, as the Torah says, it's Ke'ilu Korev HaTomid. It's as if the Tomid was brought.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Rather than as if I brought the Tomid.
Why don't we just change it to Anu?
No, he's not happy with that either. He said also Ke'ilu Kravnu, we brought it. He also doesn't like that, because it's not our Korban. We're not... B'shar Tshuva miyashiv kama gersa shalonu. B'shar Tshuva is mashiv gersa, as based on what you said, that it's the whole of Klal Yisrael are bringing the korban. So if the whole of Klal Yisrael are the owners of the korban,
The whole thing's a Ke'ilu.
Would the Kohanim say it differently than everybody else?
no, because it's not their korban either. They might be the ones doing the avodah, but they're not the owners of the korban. They bring it on behalf of the tzibur, on behalf of the congregation.
In that case, then Anu would be right.
In which case, what?
Anu would be right, that it's our korban. It would be proper.
Yeah, that's what he says at the end. But the third opinion says that there's no owner of the korban. No one owns a korban. There's no one. Normally, a korban is bought by a particular person, or a particular group of people in some cases. in which case they are the owners of the korban, and they have to hit covenant. Whereas here, it's a communal korban. The first opinion says it's not appropriate to say it's our korban. You're saying it's as if the korban was bought.
Right. We're not really bringing it. The Kohanim are bringing it on our behalf as a kapara. But it's not really ours.
In some way it's ours, in some way it isn't. We do. Everyone gives a chatzi shekel.
Yeah, I was going to say we
to be
pay
part
for
of the korban.
We pay for it.
So we are involved in it. Though in each particular korban, your money is probably not there, right?
I could argue exactly the opposite. In every korban, there is a piece of my money there.
Right. So those are two arguments.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there's the two arguments. We're short of one though. They said we're 2 Jews, 3 opinions, so we've only got 2 opinions. I'm missing one. Sivkot and base. So let's carry on with the MISHNA Berura. But in the place where, as we talked about, in places where they say korban the Pashat Tomid B'tzibur, then one should say it again. Sivkot Gimel. If the whole tzibur are saying Parshat Tomid together, then even if you said it before, you have to say it again. The whole tzibur are saying something together, one has to say it together with them. And one's not allowed to do something different from the tzibur. So if cotton dalid, v'echavin, I'm b'toshak l'ravcha d'milsa shelo yiyeh nera keilu ma'akev shnei tamidim. The reason why one doesn't say Pashat Tomid twice is it shouldn't be as if he's bringing two korban Tomid. It's just l'ravcha d'milsa. It's just an idea. It's not terrible if one says it twice. As we said, one's not actually bringing the korban to Tzibur with the korban Tomid. One's just saying the pasuk. So if kodnei b'shashim mispalilim, beis poskim shechol kanazeh ve'omim de b'tfila ein hisna'er v'rak b'psukei de zimra u'berkat kriyashma. Some hold that during tefillah, during the actual shemoneh-esrei, one should not shackle. Only in Pesukei de Zimra and Birkat Kosher when one learns. Whatever, it's fine however one does it. One can shackle in shemoneh-esrei or not, whatever one does. MISHNA Berura says, how should one decide what to do? Whatever is easier for him to concentrate. If he finds it easier to concentrate when he does shackle, he should shackle. If he finds it easier to concentrate when he doesn't, then he shouldn't. The most important thing is that when he doesn't, he has kavanah, he has intention what he's saying, he's realizing he's davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the most important. So some people, they keep their body straight and then they just move the head around, and he said that looks like a very arrogant way and one shouldn't do it like that. If one does it, then one shackles with one's whole body, not just with one's head. So if Aleph, now we're starting the Shulchan Aruch. Says the Shulchan Aruch. B'Shabbos oimim eitzer Parshat Tomid Pesukei Musaf de Shabbos. Avlo b'Rosh Chodesh v'Yom Tov. V'Meish Kohen Batorah b'Pesukei Musaf. On Shabbos we say the extra 2 Pesukim of the Korban Musaf of Shabbos. Avlo b'Rosh Chodesh v'Yom Tov. Rosh Chodesh v'Yom Tov we don't say the Pesukim of the Korban, because anyway we're going to read it later from the Torah, so there's no reason to add the extra Pesukim. Hagav yesh omrim shemaskirin gam Musaf Rosh Chodesh cheinagin. Some say the Pesukim of the Musaf Rosh Chodesh, and this is indeed our minhag. K'dei lefarasem shur Rosh Chodesh v'chein hu lekamon siman tov chaf aleph. In order to publicize this Rosh Chodesh, we say the Pesukim of Rosh Chodesh. Says the MISHNA Berura of Cotton Vav k'dei lefarasem. Everyone knows that it's Yom Tov, one doesn't need to publicize that it's Yom Tov, and therefore we don't say the Pesukim of Yom Tov. We rely on the fact that we're going to read them later in Nekias HaTorah. Aval Shabbos, Afapi. You discovered it?
Rosh Chodesh.
Yes, Rosh Chodesh is there, yeah.
I didn't realize there was anything in gray that was added. I thought it was just one Rizah.
No, Rosh Chodesh is there as well, yeah. Aval Shabbos, Afapi.
I don't see Shabbos.
Shabbos is before Chodesh. If you look at the previous page, you'll see Shabbos.
Okay.
It's interesting that it's printed in Sidurim generally, not straight after the Korban Tomid. He's expected to be printed straight after the Korban Tomid. Oh, they didn't. Oh, I'll tell you why, because this is the Siddur for Yom Sachar.
Oh.
So Shabbos never falls during the week.
So if it was a generic siddur, it would be there.
Yes, in the generic siddur has it, and the Shabbos one will have it, yeah. And in general one would be in grey, and in the Shabbos one would be regular. Yeah. So why is it not straight after the Korban Tomid? In the Torah, it's straight after the Korban Tomid. Why do we have a break? So presumably the reason is because all these other things were brought between the Korban Tomid and the Korban Musaf, right?
Right.
So we have the Ketorah and all the other various different. The Musaf was brought much later during the day.
Right.
So we mentioned all the various different things were done in the morning, and then the Korban Musaf we mention at the end, rather than mentioning say after the Korban Tomid. Okay, let's continue. Did we finish the MISHNA Berura? No, we didn't. Again, let's read. We're in the middle of MISHNA Berura called Vav. We don't have to publicize it as Yontif, so we rely on the laning for the psukim of Musaf Yontif. But with Shabbos, even though everyone knows it's Shabbos, the reason why we read the psukim is because we're not going to read it later with the Kriyas HaTorah. We don't read Kriyas HaTorah. We don't read the Korban Musaf Shabbos. There's no maftir for the Korban Musaf Shabbos. The reason for that is because there are only 2 psukim. There are only 2 psukim in the Korban Musaf Shabbos. It's not enough to read. And therefore we don't read it every Shabbos.
But they brought the Korban Tomid on Shabbos.
The Korban Tomid was brought.
Yeah.
So we say the Korban Tomid every day, including Shabbos and Yom Tov. In addition to that, there's a Korban Musaf.
Right.
Now the Korban Musaf of Rosh Chodesh and Yom Tov, we lane every time there's Rosh Chodesh Yom Tov. We actually read in the laning the words of the Korban Musaf. On Shabbos we don't. The reason for this is because the psukim of the Korban Musaf Shabbos only have 2 psukim, which is not enough to read.
Nice.
We need 3. Right? Yeah. If we had 1 more posuk, then every single week you'd have an extra Sefer Torah taken out to read the Korban Musaf of Shabbos. So, because it's only 2 psukim, we don't take it out of the Sefer Torah, so we don't read it. Therefore, in the morning, when we say the Parashat HaTomid, when each individual says the Parashat HaTomid, then we add in the 2 psukim of the Musaf of Shabbos. Okay, let's move on to Siman Mem Tes. Sheyochel lomar Kriyas Shema Baal Peh. And one can say Kriyas Shema by heart. Sif Aleph, says the Shulchan Aruch. Af agav dekaimelon, dvarim shebichsav, yata rashai lo'imrom al peh. Even though we paskin that with things that are written, we're not allowed to say them by heart. Kol dov shegogol v'shogol b'fi hakol, could go in Kriyas Shema Birkas Kohanim v'Parashat Tomid mutter, anything which is which everyone knows by heart. One is allowed to say it Baal Peh. The examples given are Kriyas Shema, Birkas Kohanim, and Parashat Tomid. These are psukim that everyone knows by heart, and therefore one's allowed to say them by heart. So we're talking about Dvarim Shebichsav means anything from Tanakh. Right? Anything from Tanakh, one shouldn't say by heart unless everyone knows it by heart. Says the MISHNA Berura Sifkat and Aleph, Dvarim Shebichsav. Summa mutar likros Baal Peh. A blind person may say things by heart, because of the principle that at certain times we have to annul the Torah in order to be mekayim the Torah. In order to keep the Torah going, one has to annul it. And in this case, if a blind person wouldn't be able to say psukim Baal Peh, he would never be able to say psukim. He wouldn't be able to learn. And therefore, in the case of a blind person, if he is allowed to say them by heart.
That's only in the case because we're not supposed to say them. Is it halacha l'Moshe Sinai that we don't say them Baal Peh, or is it D'Rabbanan that we don't say Baal Peh? The general klal is things that are b'chsav we don't say Baal Peh except.
Correct.
So is that a?
Is this a deraisa D'Rabbanan?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I have to look it up.
The only reson I'm thinking, if it's a D'Rabbanan, then it's not a problem to take it back for a summa.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a deraisa. I don't think you need a Sasha. I agree.
That's why he had to say.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Similarly, if he is in prison and he can't locate a chumash. Siv cotton base, Yato. Kosovo Radvaz, Chelik Aleph, Simen Kufanere. Likois HaParsha. Oh, I just saw in my notes here at the bottom. I wrote here that it's a machlokes of Deraisa Drabanan.
Oh,
I wrote here that the Yereim is Rabbi Eliezer Mimitz. He was one of the, we pronounce it Mimitz, it's really Metz. It's a town in France. Like Rabbi Eliezer from Metz. He was one of the Rishonim, lived about 800 years ago. He was the Talmud of Rabbeinu Tam. The Talmud of Rabbeinu Tam. He holds it as Drabanan. Where the Sefer Charedim holds its Deraisa. Okay? And over here the Chasam Sofer also holds its Deraisa. Okay? Let's continue. Again, so with the MISHNA Berura of cotton base. Kosav Radvaz. Chelik Aleph, Simen Kufanere. Likrois HaParsha Be'erev. Baal Peh. Likrois HaParsha Baal Peh B'shor Sheshatz Koire. Ani Nizha. Aval Eini Moichel Acherim Mishum D'yesh Poiskim Harbe Shesovim Do'isa Hudafke Emotzi V'zel Acherim V'dei Chavosim. Obviously there were not so many Chumoshim available, and when the Baal Koire read the parasha, they listened without looking inside. They didn't have Chumoshim. So he wants to do Shnai Mikra. Right? There's a mitzvah to say Shnai Mikra to every week to say the parasha, to learn the parasha twice. So he wants to do it while the Baal Koire is saying the parasha, say it together with him. Okay? The problem is you haven't got a chumash, so it's Baal Peh.
Right.
So he says that the Radvaz personally didn't say it Baal Peh when the Shliach Tzibur said the parasha. However, he did not object against others that did. Right? Why not? Why didn't he object? There are many poskim, starting from Tosfos and ending with the Gra, this is known as the Gra, who hold that this whole issue is cholik on the Shulchan Aruch. That the whole issue of saying psukim by heart is only if you're being motzi someone. So Tosfos says being motzi someone.
Motzi than Kriyas HaTorah.
Motzi the Kriyas HaTorah, right? The Gra says motzi the tzibur. The Tosfos says motzi achem. If you motzi anyone with any psukim, in that case you can't say it Baal Peh. You have to read it. However, if you're just saying psukim stam for the purpose of learning, for the purpose of saying it, quoting something, one can say it Baal Peh. So it's a very important opinion of the Gra. And the Radvaz, because of this, the Radvaz was choshesh for himself acted like the Shulchan Aruch and therefore didn't say the words of the Leining by heart when he was listening to the Leining. However, he didn't object against others because according to the Gra it's perfectly okay, because these people are not being motzi anyone, they're just listening to the Leining and just saying it along with the Baal Koire.
Just a question. We're not talking about the Oleg, we're talking about people, we're talking about the general tzibur? Because sometimes the Oleg comes up and he reads it along with, but he is reading it from the text.
Correct.
So the
Oleg reads it from the text.
That would be fine.
That's there, 100%. He's reading it. Yeah.
Okay.
So if Kodin Gimel Oman Baal Peh, Kitorot Brachot Beharba Psukim Shabbat Torah. Someone who is giving a drasha, a Rav is giving a drasha, and he's quoting lots of different psukim. The Kosher lo lechabes b'chol shah b'chumash min negved atzibur. Every time he wants to quote another pasuk, he has to start flipping pages and looking for the pasuk. Then it's a tircha for the tzibur. It's not covered as tzibur that every time he gets to the pasuk, he starts turning pages. It could be that he could be maker. Right. That idea might be to use those things you lent me. Those you gave me. What are they called?
But he's also not being...
My memory. What are they called now? The brass clips.
Yeah.
Brass clips. Okay.
Arrow, something.
Okay. See, one could use the brass clips. The Mishnah wouldn't have them.
Right.
Right.
Didn't have them, nor did he have a copy machine.
Right.
Just to copy the pages. But it seems to me in this particular example, he's not being motzi the tzibur, the psukim.
Correct.
He's being mefarish them.
Correct. Which is according to the Shulchan Aruch. Remember, the main opinion is the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch. But the Shulchan Aruch holds one can't say any psukim by heart. The Gra says it's only if one is being motzi someone. So here we're going with the
So
opinion
this is
of
explaining of the Shulchan Aruch. Okay.
And Efshei Shidaka, what's the Efshei Shidaka? Why is there room to be lenient if it's prohibited?
Even according to the
room to be
Shulchan
lenient
Aruch.
is because of the Gra. It's because of the.
Okay.
It's to rely on the shit of the Gra. But it's not being motzi anyway.
But it seems to me that there. I was thinking about it. There are no directions that I can think of in Torah to say Torah. It's always to read it. You know, it should be read 3 times a week.
Right.
It should be read twice on
It's interesting
Shabbos.
because the word for read and the word for call out are the same.
Right.
So it's inherent in the word to read is to say it out loud.
Right, yeah, right.
It's an interesting.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see that in a translation.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah.
So what do you mean? So that
What I'm saying is, if someone were to say, you should say the Torah 3 times a week, to me that would indicate that it could be said Baal Peh. You don't have to read it. Right? But the commandment for Ezra and Nehemiah and others, right, seems to be always to read.
right.
Which means that it shouldn't be Baal Peh.
Right.
It should be read.
Right.
Right.
Are you talking about with being motzi people Yidei Chavos? Is that what you're talking about? Why?
No,
It's talking about the mitzvah itself.
No,
it's not called Amiras Shema. It's called Kriya Shema,
Right.
Right.
for example. So it
That's an indication that
you
a
have to
person
read it.
shouldn't say it Baal Peh.
Right.
That the person should read it.
Right.
That's
Okay.
Yeah.
Understand. Okay. Very good. Let's continue.
or call it out.
I'm beyuma betosis shonim diva maslo also betosis rishonim betosis basra. We are go hiskim and dinner bas the betosis basra. The Tosis is talking about the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. We read from the Sefer Torah, and we would read the Parasha of Acharim, it's the Avodah of Yom Kippur, and then he would read from Parashas Emoy, about Yom Kippur, and then the next part he had to read was from Pinchas, which is a whole Sefer later, it's in the end of Bamidbar.
Right.
So he would read the first 2 inside, and the third one he said by heart. So Tosis discusses this question: how can you say it by heart?
It's even a bigger tier because it's where you have to re-roll the
So
Torah.
that's the first answer he gives.
Not just
because
flipping
it's a Tibur,
pages.
because he has to roll the Sefer Torah in front of the Tibur as a Tir. Right. Okay. Let's continue. Sif Cotton Dalid. Also, if it's not shogol b'fikol, if not everyone knows it by heart, even if he himself knows it by heart, he can't say it by heart. It has to be it's something that everyone knows. It's common, everyone knows it by heart. Then it's something he can say it by heart. The examples given are Kriya Shema, Birkas Kohanim, and Parashat Atomid. Kagon Kriya Shema v'chein Psukei Zimra. Psukei Zimra is also something that everyone knows and one can say it by heart. It's called in Vav Parashat Atomid. Kozav HaMogan Avram, HaMa'ayin Bebeis Yosef Yira Sheish Deis Shonis B'Tam Het HaMeis Eili Dvorim Ba'al Peh Lochein Yishizor Shelo Yiloma Shum Davar Ba'al Peh Ki Ma Shenizkar Po B'Shulchan Aruch. One shouldn't add anything to this list written here. U'B'Shuvas Chavis Yoel Mate Loima Kosei V'Tehillim. Chavis Yoel allows one to say the whole of Tehillim Ba'al Peh. Why? T'chim Shelo Oire Rachamei Hashem Havlik Tefillah. Because it's just to be Me'oire. The Rachamei of Hashem is like Tefillah. Similar to davening. ונראה שיש ליסמך עליו, דבלאו החידס העתר זוב והגור כפויסקים דווקא לא היצי רבים די חייבוסן also. One can rely on this because of the Ateres and the Terzov and the Gor who hold that it's only if you're motzi rabim די חייבוסן. So Sefer Tehillim, there's 2 reasons to be lenient, therefore one can be lenient. Either because you're not being motzi rabim די חייבוסן, according to the Gor it's okay, and the second reason is because it's just you're saying it like tefillah, you're davening.
It's not really
part of learning. Okay. Right, let's stop here. There's
one more sign.
It's just we wanted to stop. I just wanted to mention one important point. Vayichulu in Kiddush. There's a different opinion if one should say that Baal Peh because that's psukim and one's b'motzi someone. So this, even according to the Gor, is probably a problem. The Shemir Shabbos Kosher says one should say it inside because you'll be motzi people. Where the Belashev says that you're not being motzi tzibur. So only if you're motzi tzibur.
Interesting.
Right, we said the Lashon of the Gor is that only if you motzi a tzibur, congregation. As Tosus says, motzi acherim. So the Shemir Shabbos Kosher says one should say it inside.
But then if everybody who's motzi knows it by heart, there shouldn't be an issue, right?
If everyone,
No, it has to be like a normal thing that people know by heart, not just the people that are there.
right. If we said there's something that everyone knows by heart, you can say by heart.
Right.
But we did see that one shouldn't add anything to the list mentioned.
You're right. Yeah, that's right.
Just Vayichulu and Kiddush. If you don't hear Vayichulu, you're still Yotze Kiddush. Like if you don't hear Vishamru.
You're correct.
So I'm not sure if that's exactly called Motzi.
Correct, but there is an Inyan to hear Vayichulu. Correct.
At least you're most in the
But
Indian.
you can be Yotze Kiddush without it. Correct. Yeah. We do it 3 times now. We have 3 times. Once in shemoneh-esrei, once after shemoneh-esrei before Magen Avos, and then once in Kiddush.
Very nice.